Ready to roll. Turn left.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is John Tapp with the Peterbilt 359 for the second time with the flatbed trailer. We're going to start with something different, and it's going to be for the tank that was about 40,000 pounds, I think. So I'm waiting for traffic. So let's go for a ride.
cases of New World screwworm as both Mexico and the U.S. work to fight their own outbreaks. For NPR News, I'm Nina Kravinsky in Hermosillo, Mexico.
And I'm Janine Herbst, and you're listening to NPR News from Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the George Lucas Educational Foundation, creator of Edutopia. For 35 years, sharing what works in schools today and working to inspire new ways to learn tomorrow. More at edutopia.org.
Turn right.
Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8, an evening of new and classic British drama. It's the season finale of Patience at 7 and the series finale of Grantchester at 8. Then it's season 3 of Downton Abbey at 9. Tonight on TV8.
Support comes from the Houston Museum of Natural Science in Hermit Park, featuring exhibits on dinosaurs, butterflies, stars, and ancient cultures, along with the Burke Baker Planetarium and Cockrell Butterfly Center. More at hmns.org.
Hey y'all, it's the Sam Sanders Show from KCRW, all about the things that entertain us. Thank you so much for listening to my show. Question for you this week. If you could go back in time, where would you go? I mean, I have my answer. It's always disco. Like, take me back to disco's heyday. What a good time. Anywho, this question, where would you go back in time? It is a premise of a great new novel by culture writer Jessica M. Goldstein. It's called Retro, and here's how she explains it.
Retro is about this struggling, down-and-out actress named Ash, who gets a job as a time travel agent at a startup called Retro that takes wealthy tourists on vacations to the past. So we're talking bachelor parties at Woodstock, 20s for your 20s, birthday trips to Prohibition-era speakeasies.
But first, Jessica and I go deep on another topic that deals with pop culture nostalgia. It's a thing that I've been noticing for a while. Maybe you have too. Movies these days, they don't look like they used to. In my opinion, they are often too damn dark. I'm looking at you, The Odyssey. They're not well lit, and I can't make everything out when I'm watching the thing. People online are mad about it.
If it's a good movie, if we're about to watch a cinematic masterpiece, you better not be able to see much.
Yeah, hope you don't want to. Bro, I really need to see this, and I'm losing out on the information the image is supposed to provide. Like, what are we doing?
Please stop hiring people who shoot these ridiculously dark episodes. This is like The Long Night all over again. What in the hell?
So what is going on in Hollywood when it comes to lighting up the scenes and the screens? Jessica M. Goldstein wrote all about this for the New York Times recently, and she shared what she learned with me. Let's get into it.
If I could say anything to movie lovers anywhere, don't let yourself get gaslit. Like, trust your vision. It's not just you. It's not just age. It could be the settings on your TV, but it is not exclusively that. Movies, the average new release looks very different today from the average new release even 25 years ago. It's not just in your head.
Yeah. I love that you use the word gaslit to talk about film lighting.
Exactly.
Spot on.
Yes. Thank you for getting it.
When did you first notice this? What made you want to report on this?
So I'm always paying attention, as you are, to cultural trends, what's different, what's moving me, what's exciting me, and also what's disappointing me or frustrating me. And I'd been watching older movies and comparing them to newer movies for an even older story that I had done about teeth and celebrity cosmetic dentistry and why does everybody have the same teeth now.
I think the headline was, why are all the teeth too perfect?
Yes. Have you noticed? Everybody smiles
sure
too perfect. And so one of the things I had been paying attention to is how beauty standards have difference there is that the majority of movies shot today are shot digitally. And of course, in the past, movies were shot on film. Film required substantially more lights than digital. So movies in the past were arguably, I don't mean this in a moral way, overlit, but just technically overlit.
I mean it in a moral way. Overlit in the best way.
Yes.
The light is
overlit,
good.
like radiant, glowing, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Digital requires far less light. So that's number one. They're just literally using less light. Another theme that came up is that when you're shooting on film, you have this little monitor, you have a video tab. It's like, think of it like the way that a phone taps into the conversation on the phone. The video tab gives you this preview of what the movie is going to look like, but it's very inexact. Back in the day, if you were waiting for the dailies from film, they were true dailies. They took 24 hours to turn around. Exactly. And that meant that you're in a situation where a director is the only person who really knows, did I get the shot or not?
And the cinematographer. Always.
That's right, and the cinematographer. Cinematographer and DP. You have this really small group of people with a shared vision. What you're not getting is everybody under the sun walking by the monitor saying, that looks good, that looks bad, I can see this, I can see that. So things err on the side of being understated and softer. And another theme that emerged in my reporting, and this to me is so ironic and funny, so many of these issues that film lovers complain about are, I think, in part choices that are being made to make digital movies look cinematic. There's this idea that it's moody and softer and it looks less like a commercial. Yes. So it doesn't look like a soap opera. So it doesn't look like an advertisement. But then it actually just doesn't look like anything because we literally cannot see it at all.
I can't see it. I'm thinking of how this is not just movies. I remember, weren't there a few episodes of Game of Thrones before the original series ended where folks were saying, I can't see it?
Yes.
It's everywhere. It's movies, it's streaming, it's kind of everywhere. Is any part of our viewing experience safe from this current trend?
Well, I'm glad you used the word current trend because I think something that you can hold on to if you're not happy about it is this too shall pass.
Okay, I wanted to.
This is the look of the modern movie. It's been this way maybe 15 years or so. These trends come and go. Another big complaint that I investigated for this story is how movies seem to over-rely on using a shallow depth of field, which means that one thing in the image is in focus at the expense of everything else. So you're watching the movie, the background is just a watercolor blur.
You pointed this out, and there's a big difference between the original Jurassic Park and some of these new Jurassic World films. One, the first Jurassic Park was just brighter, but two, a lot of the stuff that would have been in the background in Jurassic Park that you would have seen in lush detail, the open fields, the trees, the other dinosaurs, in the new Jurassic Worlds, it's just blurry.
Yes. Even though they shot a lot of that on location. So you're spending all this money. I think you get this cocktail of issues that, again, something people do to sort of make movies look cinematic the same way that a person would use portrait mode on an iPhone. People do it because everybody's doing it. It's just the thing that people do. And then, even if you've spent all this money to shoot on location, it just looks blurry. It looks like nothing. And it doesn't really feel immersive and real because in real life, we see deep focus. We see focus in our peripheral vision, even. We see focus, unless there's something like wrong with your eyes. It's not like stuff in the background is actually blurry. And again, it's a useful technique. It can be used to show that a character is having a nervous breakdown and the world is going blurry around them. Or it can show someone's falling in love and like everything but the person that they're swooning over sort of disappears. But when you use it all the time, it just creates this sense like I'm basically watching a screensaver, but Nicole Kidman's in the front.
Yeah, and her face to screensaver too, because that's another story. All right, if you're just now joining me, I'm talking with culture journalist and humorist Jessica M. Goldstein.
just got totally washed out. There's kind of this, I would call it like influencer blank, where it's like these houses that they're all living in and in which they shoot their content are beige and white, and the idea is that it's this totally bland backdrop against which to shoot content. And I think that that has infected, I don't have any, this I didn't report, this is just a theory that I have, that everybody is kind of living as if they are influencing, and it's creating these totally blank Airbnbs that like any person could come in and out of, and blank kind of aesthetics everywhere. And then everything looks so boring. And I can feel that Gen Z is rejecting this. They're pushing back on it. They want things to be loud and vibrant and strange again, and I love that. But currently our movies reflect that reality, which is that people's interior spaces, we're not getting the like lush, bright texture of a Nancy Meyer's kitchen anymore. It's like, it looks just like a white slab.
Oh yeah, I think it's because the algorithm has pushed us all towards sameness, and the easiest thing to make the same is the lack of color, not the fullness of color.
100%.
We are sold this idea that the internet means that we can be anything, anywhere, so we end up creating the same kind of space.
Caution, please mind the speed limit. Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Fly away,体中に広がるパノラマ、かけられた地球が起こって火山を爆発させる、溶けた氷の中に恐竜がいたら
It's so gross. That's the other thing. It's like gross and it's ugly, and we don't even know. We can feel how bad it is, but we don't even know. It's bad in ways that we're not even thinking about. Whereas a cigarette, it feels like this very straightforward transaction.
Yes.
And people feel as if they know exactly what they're getting. And again, not an endorsement, a statement of fact. I'm so sorry. Literally, no one has ever looked cool vaping. You don't look cool when you're doing it. You look like you're desperate. You're like sucking on your like computer binky so that you don't pass out.
It's very toddler behavior. Something about the look of it.
toddler
They're like
behavior.
hot pink and they're like roundy plastic and it's like, sippy cup of nicotine.
Yes, and because you don't have to take a break, it's to me very capitalism brain. Like I'm not even getting up from my desk. I'm just like hitting the vape, hitting the vape.
Go.
And again, I'm so sorry to say this, but like, have you seen those photos of like Paul Newman smoking a cigarette at like the Venice Film Festival? Like, has anyone ever looked hotter in history? I'm not happy about it either, but yeah, it can look very cool and hot. It's all the temperatures, so that's the problem.
Yeah, I will say, and I'm confessing too much on this microphone, but that's life. As an occasional secret smoker who's always trying to quit, I've been asking myself the last few years, like, Sam, what is it about it that draws you to it so much when you do it? And I realized, as someone who's become a full California woo-woo girl, smoking always forces you to stop and breathe deeply. And that's always nice. It's meditative. It's meditative.
Okay, I have to tell you something that you're not gonna like, which is, as part of my reporting for this story, I spoke with a surgeon from Stanford who has been studying big tobacco advertising for, I want to say, 20 years. And everything that you and I just said, and that all the people I interviewed as social smokers said about the appeal of smoking, and we all thought that we were having our own cool, original ideas because we're so plugged into the culture, are almost verbatim the marketing messaging of big tobacco right now. It's natural, it's iconic, it's American, it's so cool, it'll make you sexy, it'll make people want to have sex with you. So one way to talk yourself out of it is to be like, oh, actually, am I just a sucker? Am I a sucker for propaganda? And tragically, I think a lot of us are, and we don't, because I don't even think of myself as coming across like cigarette advertising anymore, but I guess I am.
You are. I will say, to loop it back to color theory and films not having enough color, when I get a pack of yellow American Spirits, it's very bright and fun. I'll tell you that.
And smoking is cinematic. Like even on, like literally on film, it looks really beautiful when people smoke. And to get back to your question about nostalgia, I really think that there's something about like even the way people reacted to the JFK Carolyn Bessette show and how like cool the 90s look. It's sort of like cosplaying like it's still 1995 in your mind, which I think is where a lot of people want to be.
I do. I sure do. Take me back to the 1-2 punch of switching the channel between VH1 Behind the Music and TRL.
Oh.
Take me back to that.
And by the way, bring back the I Love the Decades series because I think that we're losing really important sacred cultural history and information. Kids don't know. I know it's a cliche to say it, but the kids don't know.
Kids don't know.
Okay, time now for a break. When we come back, if you could travel back in time, where would you go? That is the premise of a new novel called Retro, written by my guest, Jessica M. Goldstein. She breaks it all down, so stay with us.
Is your old car just a background in the garage? Put it to work for Houston Public Media. We'll take your car, truck, and so much more in any condition. It's free for you, and you'll support the local journalism you rely on. Learn more at houstonpublicmedia.org/cars.
You can't tackle life's big challenges if you let the little ones get you down. That's why each month Houston Matters sweats the small stuff. Send your Houstonian pet peeves to talk@houstonmatters.org. Then join us Monday morning at 9 on News 88.7.
Hi, I'm John Donvan, host of Open to Debate, where we bring you open-minded discussions and debates about the issues affecting our lives. Everything from science and tech to politics, culture, and foreign policy. In our divided nation, we feel it's more important than ever for people to be open-minded, open to disagreement, and open to listening to the other side. Join me in being
they'll steer the country away from the president's policies. Trump says his policies are what fixed the lingering failures from Joe Biden's time in office. Which party has the most convincing pitch and will get your vote? I'm David Green. Join us for the next Left, Right, and Center.
Left, Right, and Center. Sundays at 9 p.m. on News 88.7.
Hey y'all, it's the Sam Sanders Show. Let's get back to my conversation with writer and author Jessica M. Goldstein. She is one of my favorite pop culture journalists. So naturally, I loved her new novel, Retro. This is how she explains the story.
Retro is about this struggling, down-and-out actress named Ash, who gets a job as a time travel agent at a startup called Retro that takes wealthy tourists on vacations to the past.
It is a wild conceit, and in the book, all the time travel takes place on a fictional metro train that goes back in time. I asked Jessica what inspired this novel and what exactly this time travel looks like.
Keep right.
All right, let's get back into it.
So we're talking bachelor parties at Woodstock, 20s for your 20s, birthday trips to Prohibition-era speakeasies, concerts, sporting events, inaugurations, assassinations. Bygone America is just a retro metro ride away.
I love it. What made you want to write this book? I have seen countless books about time travel, but I've never seen it written about in this way. It's very interesting and novel.
So I started by thinking about work. I had just the wordplay of time travel agency. I thought that was so funny. I loved the idea of, like, I think workplaces are deeply strange and absurd and have their own kind of bizarro cultural norms and rules.
Oh, yeah.
And I love thinking about...
This is my theory after seeing Backrooms.
Okay, love that.
Episode. Yeah, hold on.
Please do. So I was thinking about, like, a guy in, like, their full Viking regalia. They're splattered with blood, but they're in a conference room being reamed out because they didn't, like, properly submit their PTO. Like, I just thought there was something about the contrast. And then as I started building out the world of this office, I was like, oh, if Retro were real, it would be a startup. It would be like a big tech billionaire's pet project. And that gave it this kind of animating force of, okay, so who are the guests? The guests are like 1%er tourists. Who are the people who work there? People who could never afford to travel there. What is the real ambition of this place? It's like to fulfill the very specific hopes and dreams of the, like, tech billionaire founder. So all of that helped me build the world. And then as I was writing, it's like thick of the pandemic, 2021, and I was amazed at how relentlessly nostalgic everything was becoming. In our politics, whether that was like this far-right white supremacist movement gaining force to tell everybody that we needed to go back to, like, the good old days before you or I had any rights whatsoever, whether that was everything in pop culture being a reboot or a remake or some, like, nostalgia bait somehow, every fashion trend being a revival. And yet I also understood, as much as I wanted to reject that idea of being afraid of originality, afraid of risk, I was also like, God, I feel like things were better. Not all the way before, but like a little bit before. Like, I miss a time before the total devastation of the climate crisis made it very difficult to have a normal summer. I miss when it felt like you could just get a new job, like get a job and then earn enough money to, like, be a person. I thought that was the thing we were all going to be able to do. It doesn't feel that way anymore. And that sense of, I want to be hopeful about the future, but I'm really struggling to do it, combined with, what if this crazy tech billionaire built the technology that allowed people to escape thinking about the future altogether by just playing around in the past, came together to give me, like, the big juicy stuff where I was like, oh, this is a novel.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm curious, what time period would you most want to travel to if you were living in your novel, Retro?
So I've thought about this so much. Part of me has, like, the basic answer of, like, I want to go to Woodstock. I'm a Jersey girl, and I also think that something in me would be healed if I could go to the Stone Pony in, like, 1975 and see Bruce in, like, the early sweaty days.
Hell
but this is sort of a basic answer, but I'm like, God, the 90s, we should have just stopped. That was the right time.
It was so good.
One of my favorite chapters in the book is this trip where one of Ash's fellow time travel agents, whenever she's kind of having like an off day, she just likes to go to the mall in 2002. And that's like her little treat.
Yeah.
Because you can go
Did
when
you see how I just lit up? Like, oh my God, I want to go.
your life force returns.
Yes.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping. At Retro, you can go whenever you want on your lunch break. So they go to the past all the time, but of course it's just a lunch break. You're not doing the full like get up to go to the 1800s. So people sort of stick to like the recent past. And her favorite thing to do is just go to the mall.
I love that. I would want to go to some time period where I can access a bit of ecology that is no longer with us. Like, what is the island that has been covered by water as the sea levels rise? Take me back to the last year of that island being like fun and there. I don't know, that's kind of an hour though.
No, there's one of the characters in the novel who is like the head of the engineering department. His name's Wyatt, and he is really obsessed with, when he's not at work, getting to experience these like beautiful places in nature that industrialization and colonization robbed from us. And one of the destinations that I found out about in doing research for this novel was Wood Island Park in Boston, which no longer exists. It was like paved over to make Logan Airport. But it was
Hello,
yeah,
leave
but
it to
it was
Boston. Leave
I
it to
know, but
Boston.
it was designed by Frederick Law Olmsted. It was like one of these truly like a gem of a park space for sports, for leisure, for community, for that entire neighborhood, and it was just like completely demolished to make an airport.
I also want to go back to like the heyday of disco, when disco was at the same time the most popular form of music in the country, and also dudes were burning disco records in the streets.
Totally. I would love to just go out dancing in like a pre-cell phone, even pre-digital camera time. When things were just like, you really had to be in the moment, and you had to make a plan and then just do it because you couldn't text someone and flake. You just had to be there.
You had to be there.
Hey, if you're just now joining me, I'm here with culture journalist Jessica M. Goldstein. Jessica's work often appears in Marie Claire, the New York Times, Vulture, and the Washington Post. We're discussing Jessica's debut novel called Retro. It's a fantasy tale all about time travel, parties, nostalgia, and the perils of modern life.
Take me back to sweaty nightclub in the aughts. Every other song is either T-Pain or Lil Jon, and the goal is to leave the club dripping with sweat.
Completely. I used to feel like a successful night out was when my hair was so sweaty I could tie it into a knot into itself and it would just stick. Without a hair tie, that's how I knew. I had left it all on the dance floor.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I feel like too, after the book came out, or right around when Retro was coming out, I saw this wave of like Gen Z social media posts where they're like, God, it must have been so cool to be in your 20s in like the 2010s. Like the sped up nostalgia, and it was. But one of the things that really helped me write was seeing the sped up nostalgia cycle come for my own generation and see the gap between the way that we romanticize the past and what it was actually like to live there. Like when they started talking about how great Y2K must have been, and like, oh, why don't we dress like this anymore? It's like, I know why we don't dress.
No one should wear low-rise jeans. It's not good for people. It's so hard to pull off.
And it's not like at the time, I don't remember in 2003 walking around being like, this is the best ever. This is the apex of culture. It'll never be this good again. It's not like when I turned on The Daily Show, they were like, we have no notes. We're thrilled. We all thought things were like less than ideal. And that is also, I don't say that to like minimize the modern horrors, but it was a useful reminder that the way we talk about the past and what it was actually like to live there. Not the same.
This gets me to my last question for you. You know, what writing this book about nostalgia and time travel tourism, what it taught you about nostalgia. And it seems like one thing you learned is that like we're always nostalgic for something, and even the time that we want to go back to, when we were there, it wasn't perfect either.
I think that one of the big themes for me is that Retro, the company, offers up this promise of you've always wanted to do this impossible thing and now you can. And what so many of the travelers find is that promise is a false one, because the thing for which they're nostalgic isn't just a time, it isn't just a place. It's the person that they were before they had certain life experiences. It's the innocence of their own childhood. It's like the fantasies that they had about how their own personal life was going to go. And it also made me think about how nostalgia can be, it can be wielded for good or for evil. Because I think there's a way that it can really help you stay connected to the person that you used to be, to friendships and relationships that were really formative and special to you in a more innocent or naive time of your life. And it can also be weaponized by these true forces of evil who profit directly from all of us giving up completely on the future. People who want us to completely tap out and say, look, the climate, we're screwed. There's nothing we can do. I know who profits from that, and it's not you and it's not me. I know who profits from all of us saying, like, well, that's just how it is. Like, that's just how it is now. AI, it's like inevitable. There's nothing we can do. Like, And I think that it's reminded me to stay angry at the right people and to be paying attention to when nostalgia is being used in a way that is really special and are about human connection, and when it's actually being used as a trick to distract you from believing in your own ability to act in ways that are meaningful enough that the future could be a place that you might want to go even more than 1995.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of, because I'm a California woo-woo girl, something someone wiser than me said at a silent meditation retreat I went to a while ago.
I'm sorry, said to you at a silent meditation retreat?
I know. They get to talk to you.
Illegal.
You can talk to them.
Oh, okay.
Right? But they were like, yeah, whenever you find yourself wanting to be in the future or wanting to be in the past, a good thing to try to do is to tell yourself how chances are right now you have enough. What would it feel like to say in this moment right now, I actually have enough to have a fun day, to have community, to do cool things? What if there's enough right here?
Yes, I think too about how truly, no matter how terrible things are, there's something about your life right now for which you will be nostalgic in 5 years.
You will be nostalgic for this podcast episode in 5 years, dear listener.
Absolutely, but it's it's probably something you're not even paying super close attention to. It's probably something that feels really ordinary or something that you're taking for granted. And again, I don't say that to suggest that everything is fine. I think a lot of things are whatever the opposite of fine is. I think things are pretty bleak. And I just know that there's always something in there in your day-to-day life that is sacred and finite and that you'll miss.
Yes. Yeah.
And that also helps. It helps keep me out of the dark place.
Yeah.
The dark movies, the dark moods.
All of it. Also, it's like, when you find yourself nostalgic for a certain moment, maybe the fix is to think of what from that moment can you create now in your present day life. And I feel like a lot of the 90s nostalgia is just all of us longing for human connection with our friends and loved ones without phones. So just do that. We can still go out to the club and just leave our phones at home, and it might feel super 90s without us having to literally time travel.
I completely agree with you. Another thing too that writing retro really made me think about is how this is like a theory that I'm working on, but it's that time travel is a fundamentally optimistic genre because it accepts on faith our belief that all of us have the power to change history and to change each other's lives. Because think about it. Most time travel stories have like the big question of time travel. The thing everybody asks me is like, well, what happens if they go to the past? Do they change everything?
The butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect. There's this idea in time travel that even just being somewhere you're not supposed to be. You go to 1776 and you just wave at George Washington and it's all over.
I just show up in his face before he goes to war.
Things we do matter a great deal. Or we wouldn't be telling these stories the way that we do. We must think that we have like the power to matter, whatever it means to us to matter. I think that we do believe that it's in there. It's just easier to see it when it's like refracted through the prism of a genre rather than when we're just staring reality in the face.
And, we must remind ourselves, technically, we're always time traveling. Time is always passing.
Go straight on. That is ultimate California movie girl.
We're
like,
so
time, we're all...
Time, yes, there is only now. And even that now is gone. But you know what's not gone, dear listener? This book in stores right now, Retro by Jessica Goldstein, a novel that you need in your life. It's a great summer read and a great all-around anytime read in this current moment or in the past or in the future.
Thank you so much.
Go straight on.
Oh my God, of course. Where else can folks find you?
People can find me on Substack. I have a newsletter called The Retro Report. It comes out every week, and I give mood-based recommendations for vintage things to read, watch, listen to, obsess over. It is blissfully free from the news cycle. It's just about what am I feeling, and all the old classic cult things that maybe you've seen or maybe you're discovering for the first time. So definitely find me there.
Straight on.
And if and when you read Retro, you should go to retrotheagency.com, because I worked with this fabulous web designer to build a fully functional site for Retro, the company, within the book. And you can get your passport taken. You can plan your trip.
You hear that, listeners? Passport. I love it.
You can apply for a job, and unlike in reality, you will hear back if you apply for a job. You can explore the Retro Metro map and see all the destinations. So it is spoiler free. So check it out and catch me on my book tour.
I love it. Jessica Goldstein, we're going to have you back very soon. Thank you for your reporting. Thank you for your writing. And thank you for giving me permission to continue calling out movies that aren't lit well.
I was so nervous that you were going to say, thank you for your permission to keep having a little social cigarette. And
well, that too.
That too.
Oh, my goodness. Come back anytime. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again to my guest, Jessica M. Goldstein. Her new novel, Retro, is out right now. And thank you for checking out my show today. It is a co-production between Sam Sanders Productions and KCRW. We are distributed nationally by PRX. Our showrunner is Tyler Green. Our senior producer is Bennett Purser. Our podcast producer is Andrea Bautista. Phil Richards is our technical director. Bo Delmore is our video lead. Luis Pena is our switcher and video editor. Ramel Alcantura is our graphic designer. Miriam Fernanda Alcala Delgado makes our social media videos. Alicia Baitu composed our theme music. And together, Arnie Seipel and I executive produced this show. If you like what you've heard today, you can find more of my interviews on your favorite podcast app, on YouTube, and at kcrw.com/Sam Sanders. All right, till next time, be good to yourselves.
Recomputing.
PRX. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Chariot Energy, offering electricity plans backed by 100% renewable energy for Texas homes and businesses. Learn more about renewable energy options at chariotenergy.com.
At Marketplace, we help you understand what's going on in the economy and why. There is no topic too large or too small, whether it's the housing market, jobs, interest rates, even the prices we are paying at the grocery store. Our independent journalism is critical in helping you connect the dots and getting the context that you need. So, join me, Kai Rizdal, every weekday on Marketplace.
Here we are. Safe and sound.
Marketplace, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on News 88.7.
Your NPR station, News 88.7 KUHF Houston, a service of the University of Houston. Get local and breaking news anytime at houstonpublicmedia.org. Listen to us on your favorite devices. Tell your smart speaker to play News 88.7.
From Futuro Media and PRX, it's Latino USA. I'm Maria Hinojosa. Today, we look back at Ricky Martin's legacy, how he paved the path for young Latino artists and queer people.
Art has lineage. Queerness has lineage. And Ricky Martin, in my opinion, is an important elder in both of those lineages. Maybe a zaddy elder.
And later, Orgullosa returns. After she was wrongfully removed from the United States, Orgullosa now has the chance to return. We look at how this happened and the uncertainty that lies ahead.
I will not make a promise I can't keep. Can't make a promise that this won't happen again.
All this coming up on Latino USA. Stay with us, no te vayas.
Drive safe.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Janine Herbst. Thousands of people are still displaced in Spokane, Washington, after a tense day of wildfires. Doug Nedvornik from Spokane Public Radio has more.
3 major wildfires continue burning in and around Spokane, charring several thousand acres. Go now evacuations remain in place for all the areas affected. 20 to 30 mile-an-hour winds spread the fires quickly yesterday. Local authorities say several hundred structures burned. Spokane Police Chief Kevin Hall says he knows people are eager to go back and check on their homes, but he's urging patience.
We understand there's consternation about your property, about your pets, that you may need medication, but we cannot allow you back into the area when it's unsafe to do so.
The winds are abating a bit, but conditions remain challenging for firefighters. For NPR News, I'm Doug Nadvornik in Spokane.
A senior envoy for President Trump's Board of Peace says 2 days of Israeli strikes in Gaza killed civilians and destroyed medical supplies. This comes as the board and mediators push to implement a final peace roadmap while Israel continues bombing without official comment. NPR's Anas Baba has more.
In a post on X, Board of Peace envoy Nikolai Miladinov said the strikes followed weeks of efforts by the Board of Peace and mediators, including Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the United States, to get Palestinian factions in Gaza to agree to President Trump's final plan. He said his team is working around the clock to de-escalate, adding that both sides had obligations under the agreement. But Gaza health officials say Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 19 Palestinians since Sunday morning, including women and children. For Palestinians here, the violence is not limited to the past 2 years. Nearly 9 months after the Board of Peace announced a ceasefire after 2 years of war, Palestinians continue to live under daily Israeli bombardment, while more than 2/3 of the Gaza Strip remains under Israeli military control. Anas Baba, NPR News, Gaza.
The Trump administration is proposing changes to banking regulations meant to lighten the burden on community banks. NPR's Stephen Basaha reports, though, it could lead to banks investing fewer dollars in affordable housing.
Under the Community Reinvestment Act, the more a bank invests locally, the more likely regulators will approve profitable mergers and acquisitions. In 2024, the law encouraged about $170 billion in affordable housing and local infrastructure lending. That's according to the National Association of Affordable Housing Lenders. The group says the new rules would reclassify about 800 banks as small, so they would no longer need to follow those regulations. And that would likely lead to lower investment in rural housing, where those banks are often located. Federal regulators say the proposed loosened rules would lower the burden on community banks. Stephen Basaha, NPR News.
You're listening to NPR News from Washington. Police in Idaho have identified the suspect in a shooting at a fast food restaurant in Twin Falls yesterday. It's 24-year-old Chad Williams, who police say died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officials say he opened fire at an In-N-Out burger restaurant and say an off-duty police officer and citizen actively engaged him by returning fire. At least 3 people died, several others were injured. The restaurant says one of the dead was an employee. There's no word on a motive. Canada's second-largest airline is on strike. Dan Carpenter reports more than 4,000 flight attendants at WestJet walked off the job this morning.
In a statement, the airline says its latest offer to the Flight Attendants Union is industry-leading and transformative and directly addresses the main issues behind the walkout, unpaid work. In response to the strike, WestJet issued a lockout. The union for the flight attendants says it's ready to go back to the bargaining table. It says flight attendants work about 35 hours a month without pay before and after flights. In Ottawa, Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says the strike is a disappointing development and that federal mediators are available to help with negotiations. But the union has urged the government not to intervene with any back-to-work legislation. Meanwhile, thousands of travelers are scrambling to make arrangements on one of the busiest travel weekends of the year in Canada. For NPR News, I'm Dan Carpenter in Toronto.
U.S. futures contracts are trading higher at this hour. Dow futures up about 0.3%. NASDAQ futures up more than 0.5%. I'm Janine Hurst, and you're listening to NPR News from Washington.
Support for NPR comes from Schwab, offering the Schwab Teen Investor Account, where teens can gain hands-on investing experience. It's co-owned by parents and teens, so parents can monitor the account while teens learn how to invest. More at schwab.com. This is NPR.
Hello, I'm Ernie Manous. Our show Hello Houston is live on the radio on News 88.7 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. weekdays. But we can also give you video access to Hello Houston 24/7. Just head to our YouTube channel for full shows and isolated segments like my interviews with local and national celebrities. It's Hello Houston, giving you full access to our show 24/7 via our YouTube page. So catch up on those missed episodes. For more info, check out the Hello Houston page at HoustonPublicMedia.org.
Welcome to Latino USA. I'm Maria Hinojosa. We're going to start our show today with the first episode of a new Futuro Studios podcast. It's called Muy Excited. The host is Maria Garcia, executive editor of Studios. You might remember her from Anything for Selena, the show about Selena Quintanilla's legacy, or from the podcast My Devo, about finding your roots with Mexican icon Juan Gabriel as a guide. This time, Maria Garcia dives into pop culture moments from the present and the past and tells us what they reveal about ourselves. The first episode is about none other than Ricky Martin. So I'm going to pass the mic now to Maria Garcia, who starts by telling us about a specific moment where motherhood and Ricky Martin collided at a Super Bowl party.
I want to tell you about a moment earlier this year. I was at my friend Ruby's house. We were gathered to watch the Benito Bowl. Apparently there's some sort of sporting event happening at the same time. But we were sad for Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, okay? Well, we weren't exactly sad because all of us adults were standing in a semicircle entranced by the magic of Bad Bunny's performance. That start in the sugarcane fields, all the Latino vendors, the actual wedding. And then we see him, dressed in all white, his voice firm and smooth. It is the one and only Ricky Martin.
Turn left.
Singing arguably one of the most political anti-colonial anthems of Bad Bunny's catalog, Lo que le pasó a Hawaii, a cry against statehood for Puerto Rico. I know immediately the potency of the symbolism here. Here is the artist who most represents what some people called the Latin boom in the late 90s. And now, about 2.5 decades later, Ricky Martin stands before us, not performing in English to a white audience for recognition or acceptance. No, he stands before us singing a song of resistance in Spanish. And I stand there acutely aware that I would remember this moment for decades to come. That this was a touchstone moment not only for the long storied arc of Ricky's career, but for the complicated narrative of Latino belonging in the United States. And then my trance is interrupted by the choir of boys behind me. "Who's that?" yells my 11-year-old son and his 2 best friends. And then all 3 of us moms turn around and yell, "What do you mean? That's Ricky Martin!" And the 3 preteens say, "Who's Ricky Martin?" And then I realize I have failed my child. He has grown up knowing about Juan Gabriel, Tego Calderón, Selena, Prince, Kate Bush, and so many musical icons who paved a way. But I have done him a disservice by not teaching him about the man who had to live a vida loca so Bad Bunny could do lo que le da la gana. And I'm going to be honest, I have written a lot about this historic moment, but I have very on-brand centered the divas of the moment. J-Lo, Shakira, the OG predecessor, Selena. And I have mentioned Ricky, but I have never gone deep on what he meant. Pero ya, no more. I'm gonna do right by my son, by all of y'all out there who may not know or who may have forgotten just how much this man did for the culture. Because let me tell you, whether you are Latino or queer or just someone who is trying to live more authentically, you have something to glean from Ricky Martin's life and legacy. This man was out here figuring things out on his own, surviving child stardom.
Because you are the cutest thing I have seen.
Being fetishized by American media.
He's been called the Puerto Rican Elvis, and you can understand why.
Scrutinized
Finding
obsessively about his sexuality.
And with you, there have been the rumors that question or talk about your sexual orientation. You must be aware of those rumors, of course.
When possible.
And ultimately, he stayed true to himself, to his roots, to his integrity. So let's go. This one's for Ricky Martin. Enrique Ricky Martin Morales was born on December 24th, 1971, in San Juan, Puerto Rico. His mother was an accountant, his father a psychologist, and by the early 80s, he stars in commercials for Orange Crush soda. And for Burger King. In 1984, when Ricky is 12 years old, he joins boy band Menudo. Their fandom was very Beatlemania-esque, with mostly young girls screaming frenetically anytime they were close to the boy band. Menudo was such a cultural phenomenon that the band is seared into people's most formative memories. Here's my friend and La Brega editor, Laura Perez in Puerto Rico, who remembers when Ricky was introduced in the band.
I was 3 years old, and I remember vividly not only watching him, but what I felt, how it felt. It was so exciting, and how I thought he was the most beautiful boy.
You can see the frenzy when the band, including newly integrated Little Ricky, was a guest on one of Oprah's early TV shows.
I want to talk to you because you are the cutest thing I have seen. Turn left. When you first knew that you were going to be picked to be in this group, what did you do to go home and celebrate?
Well, I first told all my parents, to all my family.
Yes.
And then...
Listen, don't purr back there. We got to hear it. Call your family.
Ricky's hair is perfectly coiffed with layered strands framing his little face, and he looks doe-eyed, earnest, maybe a little nervous. His English still a bit halting.
And then we did a disco party.
You went to a disco party after that.
Oh, a disco party. Now, 12-year-old Ricky doesn't just join a boy band when he joins Menudo. He joins a strict, very regimented machine with a strategy on youth. Every member of Menudo was cycled out once they were 16 or 17, when their voices changed or they got facial hair. Many years after Ricky's tenure in Menudo, other band members will say the band was riddled with abuse and untenable pressure. But Ricky has never said anything negative about Menudo on record. In fact, in the late 90s, he tells Rosie O'Donnell Menudo provided him with preparation.
You know, if I had to start all over again, I would do it because I guess I'm where I'm at today because of the discipline that I got being in a band like this.
And this is his life until 17 years old, when he inevitably ages out of the boy band. A couple years later, he puts out his first solo record in Spanish, self-titled Ricky Martin. With an Adonis physique, shirtless with only a sleeveless open black vest hanging over his shoulders, and he is swaying those hips, smiling at the crowd. Honey, he is giving hot vampire muse, okay? Like the vampire Lestat would want to spend eternity with this man. Look, there's a lot to say about Ricky Martin's character and his kind heart and his long career, and we're gonna get to all of that. But babe, we gotta take a moment to just state the obvious. This man is absolutely gorgeous. Con mucho respeto, with love and admiration from my queer heart. Anyway, Ricky's first album is a major success in 1991. It's one of the highest debuts for a Latin artist under Sony. And at this point, he's on a roll. His second album skyrockets to the top of the Latin charts, and he's soon named Top New Latin Artist at the 1993 Billboard Music Awards. He then ventures into acting, does a sitcom role in English.
Here, I brought you this. Hope you like it.
And then, no big deal, he lands a regular character on General Hospital, one of the biggest soap